I'd gone over to America to work and been having blackouts that I couldn't explain. I'd gone to the hospital over there and they diagnosed me with a condition called dilated cardiomyopathy. But at that point of time, we didn't know why. I then returned to the UK, and after a bit of detective work, we discovered that it was related to my being a manifesting carrier of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. They were considering doing a heart biopsy to try and find out what had caused this cardiomyopathy. And they kept asking me every day, did I have any genetic conditions that I knew about? And I just felt inspired to mention that I was a carrier. And that was like a light bulb moment, and they realised, then they made the connection. So I'd had the genetic testing done that had determined that I was a carrier when I was about 15, but they knew nothing about manifesting carriers at that point, so I was told it wouldn't affect me until I went on to have children of my own. So I kind of decided at that point to keep a journal and to write down sort of my journey really and different things that have happened. So this is full of all kinds of things. Some of it relating to my condition, others not. It's got all sorts of bits and pieces from my life in here. I've got Carson's scan pictures there. I've had other conditions as well and was told categorically that I would not get pregnant, that was something that would never happen for me. So when I found out I was pregnant with Carson, that was a huge surprise. So that's been a massively significant experience in my life, something that I didn't think I would get to experience because I'd kind of written off, you know, the thoughts of becoming a parent. So it kind of helps having Carson, my son, because knowing that he's there, he gives me a reason to kind of push through it and keep battling. Otherwise, and I don't like to say this, the temptation would be just to shut my eyes and not wake up because it's too hard of a struggle sometimes. But he keeps me going, knowing that he's there. So it's good to have something to kind of fight for. Carson found this. He brought it home and said he wanted me to have it. So I think it might have been when he was at respite and he found it somewhere and yeah, gave that to me. So it's just a little heart-shaped stone. He knows he's got Duchenne, he knows what that means. He knows his condition is progressive as well. So I think he kind of looks at me sometimes as a benchmark. And so for him to see me going through these struggles, he must sort of be applying that to himself and thinking this is what my future's gonna be like. So yeah, that's difficult. All carriers potentially can develop heart problems, but not all carriers are manifesting. So to be manifesting, you have to have other symptoms as well as the cardiac symptoms. So I do have other muscle involvement, but the heart one is the worst. So now things have progressed significantly to where everyday life's become a bit of a struggle. I'm having to use power chair now to get around, and it's really hard because I can't sleep at night. Literally, as soon as I lie down, I'm struggling to breathe. My heart's racing, I'm just really uncomfortable. I'm getting like full of fluid, it's getting hard to shift that fluid. So daily life really is a struggle. In the daytimes I'm exhausted because I've not been able to sleep. So it's a bit of a vicious pattern really, and it's I'm having far more bad days now than I'm having good days. It used to be the other way around, but things have definitely shifted to where it's rare now that I'll have a good day. Most of the days are a struggle and yeah, difficult. I don't like to say this because I've never liked to kind of put a time stamp on myself, but I'm kind of coming to the end of the journey, sort of the final stages of heart failure. So that's quite hard to cope with and deal with and live with day to day. This was a birthday present from Carson, but it's actually the first present where he went out and actually chose it himself. You know, my son's 14, it's how I've got to sit down tomorrow and have conversations with him that are going to be really, really difficult. And it's how do you do that in a way that satisfies him but doesn't cause him extra stress and anxiety, and that's quite a difficult thing, and there's not that much support out there. You do feel quite alone with a lot of it, and it's hard to bring in that support. You find you have to fight to get help and to get the things that you need. So when you're battling, feeling ill and exhausted and all of that, to also have to take on that fight as well, it's exhausting. The biggest thing for me is Carson and what happens to Carson, and obviously that is huge. And that is a really, really difficult thing to sort out because of the circumstances, because of us both having health problems and disabilities. We've got social services involved. And so it's very difficult to make sure that his and my wishes are going to be taken into account. And obviously I want to make sure that he's taken care of and looked after in a way that benefits him and is the best for him. You know, I don't like the idea, and this has been broached, that potentially he could be taken and sent anywhere in the country, you know, and ripped away from his home, his school, the people he knows, you know, his place of safety. And I just think that that would be so wrong to do that to him, especially if he loses me to then have to cope with being ripped away from everything that's familiar. I don't think that's fair, and that wouldn't be right. So it's fighting to try and get things in place so that his wishes can be, and my wishes can be fulfilled, really, and that's difficult. And it's getting the support to do that and put that in place. And then this was actually a gift from Carson's dad. Me and Carson's dad are divorced, but this is the one present that he bought me that's actually got some real significant meaning. So I love all things Native American, and this is like a Native American symbol. It's for health and healing. That was the first time he gave me a present that he'd really, really thought about, and the meaning behind it is really kind of special. So quite often the people that are living with a condition, especially if it's a rare condition, know more about it, the day-to-day struggles, and, you know, don't be too arrogant to kind of hear the voice of the patients and take on board what they're telling you. There's still a lot of ignorance out there. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. I know of just carriers that have massive struggles getting their hearts checked, which is something that is the gold standard of care now. For all carriers of Duchenne should have 5 yearly heart checks. But I know of doctors refusing to do that because they refuse to acknowledge that it's even a possibility. So there's still a long way to go, but things have come on from where they were back when I was diagnosed. Probably seems like a very odd and strange thing, but I'm a massive Terry Pratchett fan. Me and my friend used to go to the conventions. And again, I'd been quite ill and didn't think I was going to get to go to another one. But me and my friend did manage to go. And I managed to find somebody, because Carson was only little at the time, to look after him. So that's just the little badge that I had from going to that. And that was like a really fun couple of days that I spent around my birthday. And yeah, had a great time. So it probably sounds daft, but reading is one of the things. I'm a big reader. So reading those books when I'm struggling and having my dark times, or in the night when I can't sleep, sometimes I'll just get one of his books and just forget about the world for a couple of hours while I read. So I find that really therapeutic. We don't talk about it, and I think we should talk about it because we're all going to reach our end at some point. And I've always felt very strongly that it's not something that Carson should be frightened of or scared of. So I've always been quite open. I've let him go to funerals. I've allowed him to have those experiences because I think that way he's got nothing to fear. I'd like him to remember that I always fought for him. And that, you know, no matter how difficult things got, I was always there for him. Even though physically I can't look after him now, I'm still there for him emotionally, you know. And I think we have a very close bond, and I'd like him to just always kind of hold on to that and remember that. This is the little bracelet from when Carson was born, and it's teeny, teeny, tiny. They couldn't get it on his wrist because he was so small. They had to put it on his ankle, so I keep that as a reminder because he's a big bruiser of a 14-year-old now, so I just look at that and think, yeah, he was so tiny and yet now he's where he's at, so that's special. I've had a good life. I've achieved all the things that I wanted to achieve. I mean, my biggest dream as a child was to go to America and live and work in America. And even though that didn't work out the way I hoped, I did it. You know, I had that experience even though I had to come home because of illness. But I think I can honestly look back on my life and say I've got no regrets. You know, I don't regret any of the things that I've done. I feel like I've accomplished everything that I needed to accomplish. So, yeah, I feel quite happy and satisfied with the life that I've led. I am 47.